Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an energized episode of The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. And here's your host, Alan Mosley.
Welcome back to The Gold Standard, everybody. I am your host, Alan Mosley. You can follow us on social media, which is facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley. Twitter is at Alan M. Mosley, but you don't have to do any of that. You can just go to our website, which is thegoldstandardpodcast.com.
That's right.
As well,
You
can support the program by joining us on Patreon, which is patreon.com/TGS Alan Mosley. So really just go to any website that you regular and type in TGS Alan Mosley.
Right.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Message us on Facebook and let me know what happens.
Sure.
If you go to Amazon or...
Just any search engine and type in TGS Alan Mosley, see what happens.
Or Wikipedia, or Pornhub.
No. Don't go there.
Oh, no? No, okay. I didn't know. So, how are you feeling, Blake?
I'm doing good. Look, I've got me a camera today. You can actually see me. I'm a little washed out and very bright, but it's still good.
Just usual then is what you're telling me. That's okay.
I'm washed out and bright. What do you want?
like that this is an energized episode.
It is very energized. Yeah. Why are you so energetic?
Well, we're moving to a new studio here.
Yeah, we are. We got some new cool ideas.
Yeah,
spice things up a little bit.
Actually, you know what? That reminds me. I wanted to. We've got 3 different topics in the stack today, but I wanted to take a quick second to mention something. I wasn't actually going to mention that we were moving to a different setup. Okay. But now we have.
Yeah, so now we mentioned it. Why not?
And that's in a couple of weeks.
Uh-huh.
But also, I wanted to say I'm taking the show in a little bit of a different direction.
Okay.
I've talked to this with a few of our friends and people that we like that I kind of like. I have some folks that I bounce, and by folks I mean
your folks.
Mike Meharry.
Yeah.
That I bounce ideas off of. And so tell me if this makes sense. And I want response from the viewers at home. Let me know what you think about this just as an idea.
Okay.
I'm kind of tired of just outrage culture, and I think a lot of people are. But when you're going to be tired of outrage culture, I think you have to make it a point to not exacerbate the problem.
Right.
And so, we hate cops on this program, and every single week there's a new story of some cop doing something wrong.
Right.
But that gets old, man.
Yeah.
Because if you said to me, "Hey, Alan, check out this video of this cop doing this bad thing," I would say, "Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I know that goes on, and I'm not saying that it's not worth making. I'm not making light of it, and I'm not saying that I don't want people to be informed about what's going on in the world. Right. I'm just saying I'm tired.
Yeah,
that's what I'm really saying.
Tired of griping about things that suck.
And I want to do this show for a long time.
Right. And so what you're saying is you want to be positive.
Well, so this is the thing. Is that I want to do less topics that are just the point of the topic is we're angry. Yeah. I'm done yelling. Yeah. And frankly, and I'm not calling out anybody in particular, but I don't really listen to programs anymore that's what they do. I really don't. Okay. Because it's like there's a very thin line between anger and bitterness. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And bitterness is something that I've dealt with in my life, and that didn't do much for me.
Well, anger goes away, but bitterness never does.
Well, it does, but that didn't do anything for me. Yeah. I spent years being bitter, and then when you're bitter, you look for things to make you angry. Like you're justifying your own bitterness, and that didn't do anything for me. My life didn't get better.
No,
by feeling that way.
I'm glad you're feeling
but it helps to not, don't put those triggers in your own life that are going to trigger those feelings so that you can overcome them. Right. And so one way that I'm going to do that is that if we have a topic on the show to discuss, it can be if we want to have some social commentary on something, then that's great. If we want to have a guest and we're talking about a project of theirs, that's great. Right. But I'm not saying that we'll never cover bad things. Look, the world's full of bad things. But and this is not. By the way, this is not going to be inspirational hour either, because that's just not. That's anybody who knows me. That's not me. But I just want to get away from purposely filling out stories that are, I'm outraged about this, you should be too. Right. And do more stories about, let's talk about this subject. Let's talk about what would make it better. Let's talk about the libertarian perspective.
Exactly.
And let's talk about how we would want things if we if I could change the world, as Eric Clapton would say, this is how we would do it. I think that's a lot more positive message than just this politician did this bad thing.
Right.
Because that just
it doesn't change anything.
You just change the names. It's the same story.
Yeah, you just get mad.
So anyway, that's
your take.
That's a direction that I'm going to endeavor to take.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
And I think it's going to to be better.
Yeah,
I really
think
do. So with that said, before we go to our quick first break, you might remember it was back last year. It was actually December 3rd. You can pull this up.
Okay.
I wrote an article about Eric Swalwell from California. And he had made some flippant comments on Twitter about basically threatening gun owners who don't submit to gun control.
Right.
His opinion was, well, I'm going to get laws passed that say you turn in your guns, and if you don't, you die. And
right.
I mean, he actually used the analogy of, well, we have nukes, so why would you resist? It was more or less what he said, which is stupid.
Absolutely.
The only reason I'm bringing him up today, other than to tout that I wrote about this clown last year, is that he was one of the Democrats running for president. He's already dropped out.
Yeah.
Sad day.
Was he the first one to drop out, or
the
first major?
He wasn't major. He never polled above 0%.
No, that's true.
It actually makes me happy that even in a world full of insane lefties, that he was trying to kowtow to, even they were like, Yeah. And so I actually wanted to. Our friends over at the other 3% actually had one of his tweets. This moron actually tweeted, and this is his Twitter. He tweeted, "Assault weapons have become the firearm of choice in too many mass shootings. We don't have to live this way. Those guns only belong on battlefields. Do you support a ban and buyback of every weapon of war in America?" And he left a poll. Guess what? 79% voted against his poll. No, of course, the way he tried to frame it as, yes, Australia already has, or no, we love guns more than kids. So that totally backfired. So I just think it's appropriate that around the time that he would post something so dumb, just dumb.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That he's now dropping out of the race because he never gained any traction at all. And by the way, his first debate performance was just god awful. So anyway, happy trails to Eric Swalwell. I'd kind of decided that maybe once every few weeks or whatever, we would do a little happy trails segment for whoever had dropped out.
Too bad we don't have like a sound bite of happy trails to you.
We'd probably get flagged on YouTube or whatever if we did that. Yeah, we could do that. I think we could get away with that though. Yeah. I'm sure.
I think that one is old enough that you could probably use.
I'm actually particularly tickled that the first person to drop out is him of all people, someone that I had written about. And so, I mean, when I heard that he announced that he was running, I was like, really? He shot. It's funny. I was going to use the analogy. He shot himself in the foot.
Yeah.
The anti-gun guy shot himself. So anyway, thank you to the other 3% on Facebook, which you can find at the other number 3% on Facebook. They're big supporters of ours. We really appreciate them.
We sure do.
So every week I like to go troll their page and find something that kind of ties in to what we're talking about today. And sure enough, they had laugh reacts only for moron Eric Swalwell. So anyway, we will be right back after this break. Hey, did you see the playoff games last weekend?
Oh, you're into the sports ball game.
Sports Ball with Mike Meharry and Alan Mosley. SportsBallPodcast.com.
Sports ball is not a libertarian sports show. It's a sports show done by a couple of libertarians.
For when you need your bread and circuses. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. Email us at tgsalanmosley@gmail.com. So, something that's kind of been in the news over the past week or so, basically since the 4th of July, is Justin Amash, who is the representative from Michigan, who was in a GOP. He declared his independence from the GOP. Ironically enough, he posted that on the 4th of July. And he had a big op-ed.
Independence Day.
He had a big op-ed in the Washington Post about it. And I wanted to say really quick, this is going to be the topic of my next article. is talking about Justin Amash. And, of course, his headline was, "Our politics is in a partisan death spiral. That's why I'm leaving the GOP." And he goes on to talk about, coming to America. His father was a Palestinian refugee, and so Amash is Palestinian. Grew up Republican, was a member of the Republican Party, and he says the two-party system has evolved into an existential threat to American principles and institutions. He talks about George Washington, how he had warned us against partisanship in his farewell address. Just a bunch of flowery words that just basically say Washington doesn't work. And so he ends with, I'm sorry, the Washington Post website is just god-awful. He says, "Today I'm declaring my independence and leaving the Republican Party. No matter your circumstance, I'm asking you to join me in rejecting the partisan loyalties and rhetoric that divide and dehumanize us. I'm asking you to believe that we could do better than this two-party system and to work toward it. If we continue to take America for granted, we will lose it." So he's a naive SOB, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, I know people are going to be like, "Wow, Alan's bashing Justin Amash." I'm really not, because I like Justin, and I know that, I mean, as the swamp goes, he's as good as you're gonna get in American politics. Yeah. But we're not about American politics. I don't give a shit about politics. I don't care. I'm not looking for a politician to save me.
No.
Because they're not going to. You're going to be disappointed 100% of the time if that's what you're about.
Yeah.
And I don't knock him for taking that stance. I mean, if that's what he feels like he wants to do, more power to him. I'm just saying that all of that is just naive nonsense wording. That's all that is.
Do you think that's going to have an effect on his ability to get?
He won't win re-election. Stand by.
Yeah.
So he won't win re-election. And here's the thing, and this is kind of going to be the crux of my article. I don't want to preview too much of it because I'm actually writing it right now, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it all the usual suspect sources that I normally get my stuff published at. I shouldn't say that because that sounds haughty of me. Like, it will be published. No, they might be like, "Alan, this sucks." But but I'm too awesome, so it'll be published. So, but here's the thing: is, for one, so he's changing he's going to identify as an independent. He is still planning to run for that office.
Yeah.
So number one, Michigan is set to lose one of its congressional seats by 2022. If that happens, his district will almost certainly be on one of, if not the leading candidate to be on the chopping block.
Gotcha.
So that makes it a moot point all the way around. Yeah. He wouldn't even have that seat to run for. Right. He'd have to move. Number two, there's going to be a GOP challenger that's going to be endorsed by Trump, and he's way ahead in the polls. Justin wouldn't win. Even if Justin had stayed pat, even if he had stayed in the GOP, he would not have won re-election. I mean, I shouldn't say would not have 100% as if I'm prognosticating that, but the odds are stacked against him. We'll talk about that in a second too. But the point being is I'm more about, like, let's cut the political theater BS for a second and talk real talk for a second.
Sure.
Most people cannot name their congressman. I mean, I say like, I don't identify as needing a congressman. He's not mine. I didn't vote for any congressman.
You didn't put him there.
But the congressman who represents the congressional district in which I live, most people can't name their congressman. Most people can't.
Yeah.
I actually read some data just this morning that I think it was something like only 53% of people can even name what party their congressman is in.
Wow.
So most people don't know their congressman's name, but even if you're like, well, I'm in a red state, he's probably Republican. I'm in a blue state, he's probably a Democrat. Yeah. Only roughly half even know that.
Right.
So if only roughly half even can identify between Democrat and Republican, and only like a third even know who their representative is, then no one gives a shit about Justin Amash, or that he's declaring independent, or that he's taking some sort of principled stance against the Leviathan and what. Dude, nobody cares.
No one cares.
The people who care don't have a political voice or are not politically active.
Yeah.
And the people who don't care, they don't even know your name.
Yeah.
Most people, and of course, most people don't vote. Most people don't vote. And of the people that vote, you've got diehard partisans who are just going to vote straight ticket, which, by the way, Michigan has straight ticket voting, which means they make it easier for you that if you're a Democrat and you just want to vote for Democrats because you're a just a boneheaded idiot who doesn't know any better, they actually make it where you just click a button and you vote all the Democrats. Or Republican, you vote all the Republicans. So the point being is that if you're an independent, you're not going to win. You're not going to win because by and large, third-party candidates or independents don't win, period, point blank. The system is rigged for two parties. But on top of that, if a state has straight party voting and it's way easier for people to just pick a party and it just automatically fills in your votes, then obviously you being an independent is not on either of those tickets.
Because there's no independent.
There's no straight voting for independent / third party.
No.
Dude, you're not going to win. So on the one hand, I say kudos to you for doing something that you believe in, and kudos for him for having been in Congress and having had votes and having explained his votes. And look, there's a lot of things to like about Justin. There is. All I'm saying is, and it's the main point of my article, is principled stances are wasted in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. So Reason Magazine, Scott Shackford, he wrote about this. And he's talking about his break from the GOP. And, of course, Justin says it's not just about Trump. Now, Amash has made headlines really twice in the last few weeks. The first time it was because he said he read the Mueller report. He's anti-Trump, and he thinks Trump should be impeached. Now, overwhelmingly, most people who are not Democrats are not calling for Trump's impeachment. So he kind of broke with the party line on that.
Yeah.
And I'm not here, first of all, everyone should be impeached. Every congressman, every senator, every president ever should all be impeached. They're not going to be.
Right.
Because nobody cares. Again, nobody cares. Again, their constituents don't even know who they are, so nobody cares.
Yeah.
But, so, I'm not even saying I'm against that. I'm just saying that if you're basing that opinion on the whole Mueller nonsense, you should be basing it on other things.
Yeah.
So that wasn't the most politically pragmatic move Amash has ever made in his life, and that kind of was the beginning of the end, I feel like. So he's saying that that's not the main reason why he did this whole splitting with the GOP thing, but it is a reason.
Yeah.
But either way, he's not going to get. No one's going to say, "Bravo, Justin, good for you." No, his people who were his friends yesterday are done with him.
Yeah.
He's a nobody now, and they all can look at the poll numbers and realize this guy's going to be out in 6 months. Who cares? They know that. So Shackford, writing for a Reason, wrote that Amash said, "I don't think there's anyone in there who can change the system. It's pretty rigid, it's top down, it comes down from leadership to the bottom. And over the years, it's gotten more rigid. It's more difficult now to change the process than it was a few years ago." So again, I'm not saying he's wrong about anything. I'm just saying, we've known this. This isn't new information.
Right.
Like I said, I like Justin Amash, I do. But if you're just now coming around to the concept that Washington is a swamp and it's broken, and in fact it's not broken. It's running exactly the way it's designed to run. It doesn't run in your best interest. If you think that it was built to run in your best interest and that it's broken, you're an idiot. No, it was built to run in its own self-interest and it's working perfectly. Definitely. If you're just now waking up to that, dude, naive is the word that comes to mind. I know that sounds mean to say, but it's the only word that comes to mind. That's naive. And like I said, he won a congressional seat and he was in there for a number of years. So, you can say that he affected more change in having a vote than most keyboard warriors ever would. And that's true. But it just seems to me like it's, ultimately he's not going to be in Washington much longer.
Right.
And I hope he can find something positive to do. And if not, then he should just go live his life and be a successful person. As we talk about on the show all the time, I would much rather you out there listening to the program right now, I would rather you be living a successful life, taking care of your loved ones, and doing things to the best of your ability and not worrying about the liberty movement or changing the world. Because, dude, again, the overwhelming majority of people either A, flatly don't agree with your concept of liberty and individuality or any of that, or B, they have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
And like I said, most people don't even know what's going on and who's in charge. Yeah. So you're so far behind the 8 ball. Just take care of you and yours.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't make your community a better place. And I'm not saying, by the way, give up, the world's come to an end. No, you can do better, but Washington can't get better.
No.
I mean, there's a reason why I'm an anarchist. I'm not an anarchist because I think that Washington's not quite where I want it to be.
Right.
I'm an anarchist because I think it's just irrevocably wrong and shouldn't exist.
Right.
That's, you know.
Yeah.
So there was one other point in here towards the bottom. So actually, no, it was in the next article. So shock poll, Amash is down 16 points in the Republican primary. So the point being is his seat's already gone, dude. Like it's already over. And I know, like when I had commented on this right after the news broke, some people had wrote me and messaged us on Facebook and said, well, I had heard that he wasn't going to win re-election anyway. So all this is just kind of it's just a dog and pony show, you know.
Almost like he's blaming his not getting reelected on this.
No, other way around. No, other way around. So
Yeah.
he's doing this to get more publicity because he needs help because he's going to lose.
Gotcha.
Well, so first of all, he's going to lose.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a congressman anymore. But two, but again, none of that matters. Like it doesn't matter. Like he helped to found the Freedom Caucus. That shit's done. They're carrying water for Trump now. Like it's dude, it's over. But again, the point being is that I don't blame him for fighting the good fight. I admire him for his convictions. Mm-hmm. I admire him for taking a stance. But you taking a stance in your own personal life or in your community is one thing.
Yeah.
But going up to Capitol Hill and putting your foot down and saying, I stand for liberty. No one cares. No one's listening. You are a pariah there when you say that. Mm-hmm. And what's most likely to happen is the powers that be are just going to send a challenger to your district to get you out of there. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. So anyway, you know, it's sad. So we're going to be doing a Happy Trails segment for Justin Amash probably here in a few months. But that's kind of sad to say, but it's true. You know, some people are saying, ooh, I wonder if he's going to go libertarian. I wonder if he's going to run for the LP ticket. I hope not. That's stupid. Why would you do that? Why would you go from being a winner to being a loser? That's just what that means. I mean, I say that all the time. Anyone who's still watching this show at this point knows this guy doesn't carry water for the LP. No, he would be stupid. It'd just be a waste of his time and effort. Yeah. I mean, if you told me, Alan, here, I'm going to write you a check for $1 million, and I want you to use this $1 million to run for the LP ticket. I would wait till the check cleared and then not run. But you know, I'll tell you what. I'll keep half, and I'll spend the other half on some sort of philanthropic effort.
It's going to take a lot more than $1 million.
Not for the LP. The LP's a joke. You just have to have a witty slogan or something. The LP's. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a joke. The point being is that there's just so many better things you could use your time and money on than politics. Right. If you're gonna be in politics, just join one of the major parties and get in. And he did that. So so again, like we can say, good for him. Like he had a way more successful political career than most. Most people don't go to Washington, and he did. So good for him.
Yeah.
But this is how it turns out, and we shouldn't, and we're not surprised though, right? Like I guess ultimately what I want to end the segment with is that if you were to listen to him talk, it would sound like he's bitter, like what I was talking about at the start of the show. It's like he's bitter about how things have turned out, and that he's almost surprised, like he was hopeful when he got there that the ball could roll in the right direction, and now he's saying, well, it's too late for that. No, nothing can be done for it. Right. And I'm like, dude, nothing could be done for this 200 years ago, man. This shit has been over before it began. Like 2 weeks after they ratified the Constitution and dropped the articles, this shit was done, man. Like, come on, get with it. Like, jeez. So on the one, I know that sounds like that sounds dismissive, but I guess I am. I don't know what else to say. I am dismissive of his whole position. Like, I hope, because I know he is a good guy, and I hope, and because he seems like a principled individual, I hope that he can parlay this whole series of events into something successful for him and his, And again, maybe he can do something for the community. Maybe he can do something informative or educational for other folks to wake up to our ideas.
Right.
But not in Washington, D.C. Because that's principled stances go to die in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So on that happy note,
yay!
Let's take another commercial break.
Sure.
Have you ever been talking politics with a friend and told, if you don't like it here, you should just move to Somalia?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, from the sandy beaches of Mogadishu, Sherry and I bring you Postcards from Somalia, one of the newer products of Little L Productions, where we take on all of the fallacies of the people who say, if you don't like it, you can just get out. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. Email us at tgsalanmosley@gmail.com. So, you know what else was in the news just recently? The U.S. women's national team, soccer team, they won the World Cup again.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Like, and this
awesome.
this isn't their first rodeo. I don't know how many they've won total now, but it's a few.
Was it 2 in a row?
I think it's definitely.
It's 2 in a row.
I think they were definitely the defending champions. I think the rest of the world is starting to catch up with them. I mean, like if we're going to put on our sports ball hats for a second, I think the rest of the world is starting to catch up with the U.S. women in terms of talent. However, like the World Cup is a big deal, and they're very successful. Good for them.
Yeah.
God knows the men have zero chance of winning the men's world. They don't. And to be fair, the quick analysis of that is for people at home that are like, hey, this isn't sports ball, shut up, is our men don't play soccer who are our best athletes. Our best athletes play football and basketball and baseball and hockey. Well, a couple of them do.
Yeah.
They're mostly playing football. And, I mean, because they can make more money. Right. Like, let's just call a spade a spade.
I think if it's just flat out more popular.
If you can make $1 million playing soccer for the U.S. national team, or you can make $50 million throwing a football, dude.
Yeah. That's a no-brainer.
Let's go score some TDs.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer. So I'm not like, I guess I am. It's kind of making an excuse why the men's soccer team sucks, but it is what it is. So good job to the women that they have a lot of success. Right. But that's not really why they're in the news though, and it's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame that they're not in the news because of their success.
Right.
They're in the news because of all the calls for equal pay for the men's and women's soccer teams. Here we go again. It's always that same old argument. We've already smashed the myth of equal pay for men and women just in the workforce in the United States. When you adjust for lifestyle choices, careers, whatever, their pay is equal. So it's just a myth. And again, here too, so I have this article from Mike Ozanian. He's on the Forbes staff. This is from Forbes. Revenue disparity explains pay disparity between soccer World Cups, men and women. Now, is it true that the men and women make different amounts of money? Correct, it is.
Yeah.
But it's not good enough to just say, well, I mean, Bill Gates makes a different amount of money than I do. That's not equal, and it should be fixed. Yeah. But there's a reason. Now,
you didn't invent Microsoft.
Now, I think that the gold standard with Alan Mosley is such a national treasure that we should be making like $1 million every 13 seconds or whatever it is. I think that, but the market does not.
No.
And so that's just how it is.
Exactly.
So we're going to scroll through his article here a little bit because he's got some of the really awesome data points. The men's World Cup pulls the World Cup money wagon. The men's World Cup in Russia generated over $6 billion in revenue, while the participating teams shared $400 million, which is less than 7% of the total revenue. Meanwhile, the women's World Cup for this most recent 4-year cycle is only expected to earn $131 million for the full 4-year cycle of 19 to 22.
Jeez.
And that will dole out $30 million to the participating teams. So that actually means that the pay disparity is justified. Now, this is an interesting point to recognize. Mm-hmm. The women actually make a higher percentage of the revenue than the men make. The men actually only make 9% of the revenue, whereas the women, believe it or not, get 13% of the revenue.
Right.
So when adjusting for the revenue that is generated by your activity, the women are actually, dare I say, overpaid compared to the men.
That's amazing.
Now, I know that there's some random feminist who accidentally clicked on this, because why would they be? Why would they be watching this show? and they just shut it off. They're not going to listen to my explanation. They're like, done with this chauvinist.
Oh yeah.
This cis normative, whatever I am, but
That's right.
white man.
but anyway. So white.
But anyway, the men actually make a lower percentage of the revenue generated. But again, because the men's side of the World Cup as an entity generates so overwhelmingly the majority of the revenue that international soccer generates, that's why they make more money.
So what you're saying is that if the men's and women's soccer teams, if the pots were the same size,
if the pots were the same size, then women would make more. They would, they'd be making 4% more. Exactly so. Mm-hmm. But the pots are not only are they're not even close to the same. They're not even in the stratosphere of the same size. So by that logic, what it's really saying is so we can bring this kind of closer to home. Is that well, obviously the WNBA players make way less than NBA players.
Yeah,
of course they do. But the WNBA is a joke. Like, let's just call it what it is. First of all, it's a joke. Dude, they miss layups. They miss layups. They miss layups. So first of all, they miss layups. And second of all, the league is not as big as the NBA. Right. It's not as many teams, and it's just not as big of a league. Even if each individual organization was killing it, it's not as big of a league. It's not been around as long. And then third, obviously, they're not generating anywhere near the TV views, the ticket sales, not even close. And so again, if an NBA player is going to make X percent that his organization, they have max contracts now. So LeBron James is going to get a max contract, and that's set at X number of millions of dollars. Well, dude, that's based on a percentage of the cap. Or of the league's finances, and the WNBA makes way less. Yeah, even in the same context, there's 53 guys playing for the Dallas Cowboys, but dude, Ezekiel Elliott, when he gets paid next, he's going to have a way bigger contract than the special teams ace who's the third string tight end. He just is. Yeah. But they're both playing in the NFL. They're both playing on the Dallas Cowboys. Why are they making more money? Because guess what? Some people are worth more than others.
Because they bring more viewership. They bring more money to the bar,
sexist,
man. Come on.
That's racist. That's every ism you can think of. No, in the real world, some people are worth more than others. I'm not saying worth more in their inherent being as a human. I'm not saying that.
No.
But in terms of their value to their organization, in terms of, you make way more than Rob. You make more now, Rob. This will be the episode. This will be the episode. This will be the episode that Rob watches, because Rob. I know. Rob actually joined our chat the other day.
Oh, did he?
So now I hope he watches this one, because he'll be like, "Wait a minute, we're getting paid."
I think Rob makes more money than I do.
Rob's gonna be like, "Wait a minute, we're getting paid. This isn't volunteered, bro." Like, no, nobody. Dude, we don't
actually pay to do this show.
I have a pretty sweet setup here.
Yeah,
I get to run my mouth in the camera and brag about our new Patreon subscribers.
And I get to play with all of these toys.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Anyhow, continue.
Yeah. So anyway, but you see my point though, is that if you generate more value, if you are worth more to an organization, you can take all the way back at home, wherever it is, whatever office you work in. There are absolutely, almost probably, you work in a big company. There's probably people that are making more money than you. Well, but you probably make more money than some other people.
Sure.
And it's so easy. It's so easy to say, I should make more money. This is me we're talking about. I should make more. But I bet you're not such a big champion of the people making less than you.
Yeah.
It's
true.
I don't think you're willing to go to bat to get a raise for the guy below you so that he makes a quarter more than you do.
Yeah.
I bet you're not.
No.
Just saying. Anyway, there's one last thing I wanted to say on that before we're done. Is there's a senator, Joe Manchin from West Virginia. Look at him. He actually looks
guy.
looks like a shriveled. Anyway, he said he's introducing a bill that would prevent the federal government from providing funding for the 2026 FIFA World Cup until the United States Soccer Federation agrees equal pay for its men's and women's national teams.
That means that
What's that?
it means that their pay would go down to 9%.
I want to look at the camera. If Michael Clark, if you're watching, this will be your favorite part of the episode. This is my response to Manchin's bill to remove federal funding of the World Cup.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's that.
Oh no. Do it, man.
Yeah.
I support that bill 100%.
Why are we funding the World Cup?
In fact, I hope everyone digs their heels in. I hope you remove federal funding for the World Cup,
and everything else.
I hope that the Soccer Federation says we're not changing the pay.
Yeah.
I hope everyone. You know what? Everyone double down.
Yeah.
That's what this. We should have called this a double down episode of the Gold. We'll do that next week. We'll do that next time. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Gold Standard. We're a proud product, the Sherry Voluntary Show. Godarchy with Mike Meharry. There's Sports Ball with Mike and Alan, which is kind of on hiatus right now because there's basically no sports that either of us like.
Isn't golf going on right now?
I mean, so is, we actually had Trisha, who was our guest last week. Trisha had posted, "Does tennis count as a sports ball?" And I told her, dogs think so.
Oh, come on. Tennis is pretty cool, man. What about a little 15-year-old been killing the big
Nobody
champion?
watches sports ball for tennis, dude.
I know.
Here in a month, we're going to wrap it back up because it'll be time for like preseason football.
Yeah.
And all. Dude, it's really close.
It's fixing to ramp up, man.
I'm excited.
Yep.
I'm excited for my bread and circuses. I need them.
One of these days, you're going to have to explain bread and circuses.
This is how I know you're not a libertarian. You're the only person that doesn't know what that means. Anyway, you can join us on social media, and you can watch these episodes as they air live for the first time. It's facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley. Twitter is @Alan and Mosley, but you don't have to do any of that. You can just go to our website, which is thegoldstandardpodcast.com.
That's right.
Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/TGS Alan Mosley, and we will see you next week.